Do you know that AI and modern education are incompatible? And here's why they're incompatible. Because AI, in its nature, in terms of why AI works, is built around things like Fourier transform and linear algebra and calculus. AI and how it works depends on an integrative nature of knowledge, including mathematics and physics and chemistry in the terms of Boltzmann's involvement. So Boltzmann was a physical chemist back in the 1800s, early 1900s, died in 1906. But the point is, the nature of understanding why AI works goes against our school system that is fragmented in teaching math separate from physics, separate from chemistry. That's not the way things should be taught in the first place. But in order to understand how AI actually works, you have to think integratively, which is not how the school system teaches people to think. Therefore, AI is incompatible with the current education system. AI is built on, again, logic, heavy logic, which is the beginning of discussions of AI in the early 1900s. They were using logic. That was where it began, is that could machines think? That was the question Alan Turing asked. Okay, so we get AI machines, okay, based on logic. Some of that work is based on Blaise Pascal and Boole, sorry. Okay, so we get into all these things with logic and then mathematics and then physics and then neuroscience. Notice it's integrative in order to understand it. Students today, if they're in a physics classroom and you told them, now we're going to talk about atoms for a second, some of them might say, well, actually, atoms might be close enough, but some of them might say, well, but this is not a chemistry class. I'm just saying the idea that any student in any school questions any professor for bringing in content from another subject into the classroom tells us that our education system has failed because it's fragmented the knowledge. But if certain pieces of knowledge are true, then they are true all the time. And what education system believes what I just said? Classical education. They believe that. And classical Christian education, because again, truth is true. So I think education doesn't know what's about to happen to it because AI actually disproves the very essence of modern education to its core. It shatters it. And so what's crazy is I was trying to figure out why do we teach the way we teach, right? It goes back to like 1880 and 1902. It's not that long ago. So this experiment has only been for, a little while, but its time is up. And literally what it comes down to is that the era of efficiency based industrial scale education is actually completely over. It had its time where we had all these children coming out of factories. How do we educate them? Yeah. We had to figure out a system. But that system is useless right now, especially with agentic AI. It's completely useless because you can tailor things to the child's needs very well. You can tailor it to the child's needs. So the question becomes, what is the vision for life for that child? And I think a lot of teachers don't even know what to do with themselves because they've been taught a certain way to teach in a certain paradigm. And now if I told the teacher, hey, agentic AI can grade your work, help you with lesson plans, and make your classroom more efficient, some of the teachers are going to say, well, what am I going to do with the students if I finish my syllabus in half the year? Because the teachers themselves don't have a vision for a bigger picture than what they've been boxed into. So we need teachers to be like coaches and mentors who have a bigger vision themselves so they can inspire the students to have a bigger vision themselves. But then the culture also needs to help the students make a decision on what they want to do with their lives. In middle school, no later than 10th or 11th grade, no later than that. Because then if you know what you want to do, AI is like basically gets you the opportunity to put your car in gear and drive off. That's what AI does. And that's what people don't understand. Well, then they bring up the issue of equity. When I heard equity, it made me think of Thomas Sowell's book, Discrimination and Disparities. There will always be inequality, like there will always be a difference and the gap is going to grow and blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing though, we shouldn't hold people back because we want to get the others to try and catch up. Not in this era and not in the West, because the issue in the West is not an issue of availability for many people. It's an issue of, do I care? So then if you have someone who doesn't care and you are holding up back someone who does care because you want the person who doesn't care to catch up with the person who does care, that's not fair to the person who cares. So we need more people all across America who have a vision for their lives and a bigger vision for inspiring young people, to inspire more young people to care. And then everybody needs to move on, accelerate towards their vision. That's the new era of education. Anything short of that is a waste of time. Anything short of that is a waste of time. And the technology is available to scale what I just set up. You can't tell me, oh, we have people in rural Minnesota, they don't have internet. Oh, no, most people I know have internet. That's not the issue. What are they doing with the internet? And some of them are wasting their lives with the internet because they don't have a vision. The era of vision-based education, by God's grace, has come. And I believe that's what, for such a time as this. The time has come. I'm excited. A new paradigm in education is here, where it depends on, again, going back to the Bible, going back to the truth. Even today I was looking at in Matthew chapter 1, this is crazy, because even in Matthew 1, it starts by talking about the the ancestors of Jesus. And it's interesting because yesterday I was doing this research on, okay, this guy is called the godfather of AI, but who taught him? Okay, who taught him? So I was trying to do a lineage of AI, people, and it goes back to Charles Babbage, Blaise Pascal, Isaac Newton, and then Aristotle. Those are and the algebra people, Al-Khwarizmi and algorithms comes from that Middle Eastern Baghdad area. But I bring all that up to say, this summer is very different. In the fall, some people are going to come back and try and carry on as usual. But what we need to do is focus on helping people that are willing to understand that these are not normal times. These are very unique times in education. Modern education, I argue, expired when Google came September 4th, 1998. But even when something is expired, you can still maybe take it and have some effect, like raw milk, like milk that might be expired, but you can still use it for 5-10 days, maybe. You shouldn't do that. I'm just giving an example. But what happens when it's no longer just expired, but it's toxic? Modern education has officially become toxic because it's operating outside of the abilities within which it can flourish. It's operating, what I mean, it's remaining in its tracks instead of trying to adapt and escalate its abilities and raise its abilities to help more people thrive. It's staying in ancient traditions of ways that don't work and don't teach people to think critically or logically, analytically and logically. Therefore, I'm done with modern education. I rest my case. Thank you for listening. Have a blessed day.